Hi students, my name is Niyati Said and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is living world. How wonderful is the living world? The wide range of living types is amazing. The extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms, be it cool mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts or hot springs, they all leave us speechless, isn't? The beauty of a galloping horse or the migrating birds, the valley of flowers or the attacking shark evokes awe and deep sense of wonder. Exactly. The ecological conflict and cooperation among members of a population and among populations of a community or even the molecular traffic inside a cell makes us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. This question has two implicit questions within it. The first is a technical one and seeks answer to what living is as opposed to the non-living. And the second is a philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. As scientists, we shall not attempt answering the second question. We will try to reflect on what is living. Okay? So what is living? When we try to define living, we conventionally look for distinctive characteristics exhibited by living organisms. Growth, reproduction, maybe sexual and asexual, ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response comes to our mind immediately as a unique feature of living organism. One can add a few more features like metabolism, ability to self-replicate, self-organize, interact and emergence to this list. Okay? So let us understand each of these in detail. Okay? First is growth. Growth is the first characteristic of any living being. All living organisms grow. Okay? Increase in mass and increase in number of individuals are twin characteristics of growth. A multicellular organism grows by cell division. Okay? In plants, the growth by cell division occurs continuously throughout their lifespan. Okay? But in animals, this growth is seen only up to a certain age. However, cell division occurs in certain tissues to replace lost cells. Okay? Unicellular organisms, they also grow by cell division. One can easily observe this in vitro cultures by simply counting the number of cells under the microscope. In majority of higher animals and plants, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. Okay? This is the illustration how a man grows. Okay? One must remember that increase in body mass is considered as growth. Non-living objects also grow if we take increase in body mass as a criterion for growth. Okay? Mountains, boulders and sand mounds do grow. However, this kind of growth exhibited by non-living objects is by accumulation of material on the surface. Okay? In living organism, growth is from inside. Growth therefore cannot be taken as a defining property of living organisms. Conditions under which it can be observed in all living organisms have to be explained, and then we understand that is a characteristic of living system. And please note that a dead organism doesn't grow at all. Okay? This is the internal process of growth, that is a cell division. Okay? Cell division occurs in certain tissues to replace the lost cells. Okay? Unicellular organism, they also grow by cell division. Okay? Now come to second characteristic of living beings. Reproduction. Likewise, it is also a characteristic of living organism. In multicellular organisms, reproduction refers to the production of progeny possessing features more or less similar to those parents. Okay? Invariably and implicitly, we refer to sexual reproduction. Organism reproduced by asexual means also fungi multiply and spread easily due to the millions of asexual spores they produce. Okay? In lower organisms like yeast and hydra, we observe budding. In planaria, that is a flatworm that we have already read in the kingdom Animalia, we observe true regeneration in flatworms. Okay, that is a fragmented organism regenerate the lost part of the body and becomes a new organism. Okay, this is the illustration of a bacterial reproduction by binary fission. Okay, this is the sexual reproduction where the male fertilizes the egg. Okay, and thus it forms a zygote and then embryo, and then finally it gastrula, morula. These stages are also seen in it. Okay, before that, the fungi, the filamentous algae, the protonema of mosses all easily multiply by fragmentation. When it comes to unicellular organism like bacteria and unicellular algae or amoeba, reproduction is synonymous with growth. That is, increase in number of cells. Okay, we have already defined growth as equivalent to increase in cell number or mass. Okay, hence we notice that in single cell organism we are not very clear about the usage of these two terms. Which two terms? Growth and reproduction. Okay, further, there are many organisms which do not reproduce at all, such as mules, sterile worker bees, infertile human couples, and etc. Okay, hence reproduction also cannot be an all-inclusive defining characteristics of living organism. Of course, no non-living object is capable of reproducing or replicating by itself. Okay, now come to the another characteristic, that is a metabolism. All living organisms are made of chemicals. These chemicals, small and big, belonging to various classes, size, function, etc., are constantly being made and changed into some other biomolecules. These conversions are chemical reactions or metabolic reactions. There are thousands of metabolic reactions that occur simultaneously inside every living organism, be they unicellular or multicellular. Okay, all plants, animal and fungi and microbes, they exhibit metabolism. The sum total of all chemical reactions occur in our body is metabolism. No non-living object exhibit metabolism. Metabolic reaction can be demonstrated outside the body in a cell-free system. An isolated metabolic reaction outside the body of an organism performed in a test tube is neither living nor non-living. Okay, hence, while metabolism is a defining feature of all living organisms without exception, isolated metabolic reaction in vitro are not living things but surely living reactions. Okay, hence cellular organization of the body is the defining feature of all life forms. Okay, this is the illustration how you can boost your metabolism. Just eat more, drink more, lift more, that means exercise more, sleep more and sprint more. Okay, we very well know that metabolism is composed of two processes. One is anabolism and other is catabolism. Okay, anabolism, it is derived from two Greek roots. Ana means up and bolin to throw. Okay, just break the terminology and you will get to know about the exact meaning. Ana means up and bolin means throw. Okay, The biochemical process of metabolism by which molecules are synthesized or built up. Okay. Often, anabolism is a reductive process in which carbons have hydrogen atoms added. Fully saturated fatty acids are the most reduced form of carbon. Okay. NADPH is the primary electron donator for anabolic reactions. This is the illustration of anabolism, where energy combines to bind few molecules with each other. Okay. Now come to illustration of the anabolism, in which simple compounds like CO2, urea, ammonia, lactic acid and ethanol, they all converted into complex nutrients such as carbohydrate, protein and lipids. Okay. They require energy for the process of conversion from simpler compounds to complex nutrients. That's why they need ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Okay. Energy requirement is provided by ATP hydrolysis. Okay. After hydrolysis of the ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, it gets converted into adenosine diphosphate and inorganic phosphate. Okay. And in anabolism, electrons for the biosynthetic provided by the oxidation of NADPH. Okay, NADPH. Okay, after the oxidation, it gets converted into NAD plus H plus. Okay. Now come to catabolism. Catabolism is also derived from two Greek roots, that is catabol, which means throwing down. It is a biochemical process of metabolism by which molecules are broken down. Often catabolism is an oxidative process in which carbons have hydrogen atoms removed. CO2 is the most reduced form of carbon. NADH is the primary electron acceptor for catabolic reactions. Always note this. Okay. This is the illustration of catabolism. Okay, where emits energy and all the binded molecules are broken down. Okay, so this is just reversal of the anabolism, in which complex nutrients such as carbohydrate, protein and lipid, they all get converted into simpler compounds such as CO2, urea, ammonia, lactic acid and ethanol. Okay, O2 is required for the oxidative degradation. Okay, so this way complex nutrients get converted into the simpler compounds. Okay. Carbohydrates are required in metabolism along with fats and proteins. Okay. First we'll be studying about the carbohydrates in metabolism. Food supply carbohydrate in three forms: starch, sugar and cellulose. Starch and sugar, they form major and essential source of energy for humans. Fibers contribute to bulk in diet. Body tissue depend on glucose for all activities. Carbohydrates and sugar, they yield glucose by the digestion or metabolism. Okay. The overall reaction for the combustion of glucose is written as C6H12O6 plus 6O2 give rise to 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy. Okay. Most people consume around half of their diet as carbohydrates. This comes from rice, wheat, bread, potatoes, pasta, macaroni, etc. Okay. Now come to the proteins in metabolism. Like carbohydrates, protein are also involved in metabolism along with the fats. Fats will be studying just after the proteins. Okay. So proteins are the main tissue builders. They are known as body builders. They are part of every cell in the body. Proteins, they help in cell structure, function. Hemoglobin formation is also done by it to carry oxygen, enzymes to carry out vital reactions and a myriad of other functions in the body. Okay. Proteins are also vital in supplying nitrogen for DNA and RNA genetic material and energy production. Proteins are necessary for nutrition because they contain amino acids. Among the 20 or more amino acids, the human body is unable to synthesize 8, and these are called as essential amino acids. The essential amino acids include lysine, tryptophan, methionine, leucine, isoleucine, phenylalanine, valine, and threonine. Okay. Now come to the fat in metabolism. Fats are concentrated sources of energy. They produce twice as much energy as either carbohydrates or protein on a weight basis. The function of fats include helping to form the cellular structure. It also helps in the formation of a protective cushion and insulation around vital organs. They also help absorb fat-soluble vitamins. They also provide reserve storage for energy. Essential fatty acid, that is EFA, include unsaturated fatty acids like linoleic, linolenic, and arachidonic acids. These need to be taken in diet. Saturated fats along with cholesterol have been implicated in arteriosclerosis and heart diseases. Okay. This is the fat metabolism, how it takes place. As we know that in our skin we have adipose tissue, that is a fat tissue, and it gives rise to triglyceride plus 3 molecule of water, and in presence of lipase, which is a very sensitive enzyme that helps in the breaking of the triglyceride into 3 fatty acid plus glycerol. This fatty acid goes into this cycle and it forms acetyl coenzyme A, and then it forms 2 carbonacyl group, and then fatty acid degraded. Okay, and this process is known as beta oxidation, and the glycerol gets converted into glucose and then acetyl CoA, and then it enters into a citric acid cycle. Okay, beta oxidation stops when fatty acid is completely degraded and converted to acetyl CoA. Okay. Metabolic pathway. The chemical reaction of metabolisms are organized into metabolic pathways. These allow the basic chemicals from nutrition to be transformed through a series of steps into another chemical by a sequence of enzymes. Okay, enzymes are crucial to metabolism because they allow organism to drive desirable reactions that require energy. These reactions also are coupled with those that release energy, and as enzyme they act as a catalyst. They allow these reactions to proceed quickly and efficiently. Okay, enzyme also allow the regulation of metabolic pathway in response to changes in the cell environment or signal from the other cells. Okay, this is the key process of the metabolism. Now come to the other characteristic of living beings. Perhaps it is the most obvious and technically complicated feature of all living organism is the ability to sense their surrounding or environment and respond to these environmental stimuli, which could be physical, chemical, or biological. We sense our environment through our sense organs. Plants, they respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, or other organism pollutants, etc. Okay, all organisms from the prokaryotes to the most complex eukaryotes can sense and respond to environmental cues. Photoperiod affects reproduction in seasonal breeders, both plant and animals. All organisms, they handle chemical entering their bodies. All organisms therefore aware of their surroundings. Human being is the only organism who is aware of himself. That is, it has self-consciousness. Okay, consciousness therefore becomes the defining property of all living organisms. Okay. When it comes to human being, it is all more difficult to define the living state. We observe patient lying in coma in hospital, virtually supported by machines which replace heart and lungs. The patient is otherwise brain dead. The patient has no self-consciousness. Are such patients who never come back to normal life living or non-living? You will come to know that all living phenomena are due to underlying interactions. Properties of tissues are not present in the constituent cells but arise as a result of interaction among the constituent cells. Similarly, properties of cellular organelles are not present in the molecular constituents of the organelle but arise as a result of interaction among the molecular components comprising the organelle. Okay, so this comes to an end. Thank you and stay tuned.